In the grand story of India, some names shine like bright stars. They guide us through the darkest of nights. One such name is Rani Laxmi Bai, the Queen of Jhansi. Her story is not just a tale from the past. It is a song of courage that every child in India grows up hearing. She was a woman of incredible strength, a leader who stood tall when others knelt, and a warrior who fought for her people and her land until her very last breath. Her life teaches us that true power comes not from a crown or a palace, but from a heart full of love for one's motherland and an unbreakable spirit that refuses to accept injustice. She became a symbol of freedom, a beacon of hope for a nation struggling to break free from chains. Her name echoes in the wind across the plains of Bundelkhand. It is whispered in poems and sung in folk songs. When we think of the Great Indian Rebellion of 1857, her image is the first that comes to mind, a queen on horseback, with her sword raised high and her young son tied to her back. This image is etched into the soul of India. It represents a mother's love and a warrior's fury, all in one. Rani Laxmi Bai was more than just a queen. She was the living embodiment of India's honor and pride. She showed the world that the spirit of a nation could not be conquered, even when its forts and palaces fell. Her story is a powerful reminder of the strength that lies within each of us. Long before women were seen as leaders, Rani Laxmi Bai shattered every rule. She proved that courage, wisdom, and leadership have no gender. In a time when queens were expected to stay within the palace walls, she rode out onto the battlefield. She trained her own army, made her own decisions, and faced a mighty empire without a hint of fear. Her life was a revolution in itself. She challenged not only the foreign rulers, but also the old customs of her own society that held women back. She was a pioneer, a trailblazer who cleared a path for generations of women to follow, showing them that they too could be leaders, fighters, and protectors of their nation. Today, on this day, January 17th, 2026, her story feels more important than ever. It inspires us to be brave in our own lives. It encourages us to stand up for what is right, no matter how difficult the fight may seem. The tale of the Queen of Jhansi is not just history, it is a lesson in patriotism, self-respect, and sacrifice. She fought for her kingdom, but her struggle became a symbol for the freedom of an entire country. She is the immortal queen whose spirit continues to live in the heart of every Indian who dreams of a just and strong nation. Her legacy is a treasure that we must cherish and pass on to all who come after us. Long ago, in the holy city of Varanasi, a special child was born. Her parents named her Manikarnika Tambe, but they lovingly called her Manu. She was not like other girls of her time. While others played with dolls, Manu was drawn to swords and horses. Her father, Morapan Tambe, worked for a great Maratha leader, and her mother was a wise and gentle woman. Sadly, Manu's mother passed away when she was only 4 years old. Her father then took her to the court of the Peshwa in Bithur, where he worked. Growing up in the company of princes and warriors, Manu's childhood was anything but ordinary. She was raised as a daughter of the court, free and fearless. The Peshwa, Bajirao II, treated Manu like his own daughter. She grew up alongside his adopted sons, Nana Saheb and Tatya Tope, who would later become famous leaders in the rebellion. They were her playmates and her brothers. Together, they learned the arts of war. Manu became an expert in horse riding, sword fighting, and shooting. She could ride for miles without getting tired and handle a sword with the skill of a seasoned soldier. Her energy and spirit were boundless. People at the court would watch in amazement as this young girl mastered skills that were usually reserved only for men and princes. Her spirit was as bright and untamed as a forest fire. Her father encouraged her unique talents. He saw in her a spark that was meant for greatness. He did not try to make her fit into the mold of a traditional girl. Instead, he nurtured her strengths and taught her to be independent and self-reliant. She learned to read and write, which was rare for women in those days. Her education was not just in books, but in the real world of politics and power that surrounded her. She listened to the discussions of the elders, learning about kingdoms, treaties, and the growing influence of the British in India. This upbringing shaped her into a person who was not only physically strong, but also mentally sharp and aware of the world around her. Manu's childhood was a preparation for the great destiny that awaited her. Every lesson in swordplay was a step towards the battlefield. Every gallop on her horse was a rehearsal for her famous escape. Every story she heard about heroes and legends fueled the fire of courage within her. She was a child of freedom, raised without the usual restrictions placed on girls. This freedom allowed her spirit to soar. She learned to think for herself, to question injustice, and to believe in her own abilities. The little girl named Manu was unknowingly being forged into the great Rani Laxmi Bai, the queen who would one day challenge an empire and become a legend. In the year 1842, a new chapter began in Manikarnika's life. At a young age, she was married to the Maharaja of Jhansi, Raja Gangadhar Rao Newalkar. As was the custom, she was given a new name upon her marriage. From that day on, Manikarnika became known as Laxmi Bai. The people of Jhansi welcomed their new queen with great joy and celebration. She moved from the court of Bithor to the grand palace of Jhansi. Her life changed from being a free-spirited girl to becoming the respected Rani of a prosperous kingdom. She embraced her new role with grace and dignity, winning the hearts of her husband and her subjects with her intelligence and charm. Life as a queen brought new responsibilities, but Laxmi Bai did not forget the skills of her childhood. She continued her practice of horse riding and sword fighting, often in the early hours of the morning. She also established a special army of women soldiers within the palace, training them herself. The Raja, her husband, was proud of his wife's unique abilities. He respected her strength and often sought her advice on matters of the state. The people of Jhansi adored their queen. They saw her as a symbol of strength and righteousness. For a time, there was peace and happiness in the kingdom. In 1851, the royal couple was blessed with a son, bringing immense joy to the entire kingdom of Jhansi. However, tragedy soon struck the royal family. Their infant son passed away after only a few months. This loss brought great sorrow to the king and queen, and to all of Jhansi. The Raja's health, which was already fragile, began to decline rapidly. Knowing that his end was near and that the kingdom needed an heir, the Raja decided to adopt a son. Just a day before his death in 1853, he adopted a young boy named Damodar Rao, a relative of the family. The adoption was done in the presence of a British political officer, following all the proper Hindu traditions. The Raja trusted that the British would honor his wish and recognize his adopted son as the rightful heir to the throne of Jhansi. With the Raja's death, the young Rani Laxmi Bai was left a widow. At the tender age of about 25, she became the regent of Jhansi, tasked with ruling the kingdom on behalf of her young adopted son, Damodar Rao. She was no longer just a queen consort. She was now the protector of her people and the guardian of Jhansi's future. She took on her duties with great seriousness and proved to be a capable and just ruler. She managed the administration of the kingdom wisely, ensuring that her people were cared for. But a dark cloud was gathering on the horizon as the British Empire had its eyes set on her beloved kingdom. The stage was set for a great confrontation. The British East India Company was expanding its power across India with great greed. They had a cruel policy called the Doctrine of Lapse. This rule was created by the Governor-General Lord Dalhousie. According to this doctrine, if an Indian ruler died without a natural heir, his kingdom would be taken over or annexed by the British. They refused to recognize the rights of adopted children to inherit the throne. This policy was a clever and unjust tool used by the British to seize control of many Indian states. The rulers and the people of India saw it as a deep betrayal of their traditions and a blatant act of robbery. It was a policy designed to break the spirit of Indian kingdoms. After the death of Raja Gangadhar Rao, Rani Laxmi Bai informed the British that she would rule as regent for her adopted son, Damodar Rao. She sent a letter to Lord Dalhousie, explaining that the adoption was done according to all Hindu laws and in the presence of a British official. She believed that justice and tradition were on her side. However, the British saw Jhansi as a prize to be won. They ignored her pleas and the legal rights of her son. In 1854, Lord Dalhousie officially declared that Jhansi would be annexed under the Doctrine of Lapse. The British government refused to recognize Damodar Rao as the heir and ordered the Rani to leave the fort. The British offered her a pension and told her to vacate the palace and the fort of Jhansi. This was a great insult to the queen and to the honor of her kingdom. They were trying to reduce the proud ruler of a sovereign state to a mere pensioner, dependent on their charity. For Rani Laxmi Bai, this was not just about losing a kingdom, it was about losing her dignity, her rights, and the legacy of her husband's family. Jhansi was not just a piece of land to her. It was her home, her responsibility, and the sacred trust of her people. The thought of handing it over to a foreign power was unbearable, her heart filled with a righteous anger and a firm resolve. It was in this moment of crisis that Rani Laxmi Bai uttered the immortal words that would echo through Indian history forever. Faced with the British demand to surrender her kingdom, she stood tall and declared with unwavering conviction, "Meri Jhansi nahi dungi." I shall not surrender my Jhansi. These were not just words. They were a sacred vow. It was a declaration of war against injustice. It was the roar of a lioness protecting her cub. With this powerful statement, Rani Laxmi Bai chose the path of resistance over surrender. She decided to fight for her rights and the freedom of her people, no matter the cost. Her defiant cry became the rallying cry for freedom fighters across the land. The year 1857 was a turning point in the history of India. A massive rebellion against British rule erupted across the northern parts of the country. It began with Indian soldiers, the sepoys, who rose up against their British officers. The fire of revolt soon spread like wildfire, as princes, nobles, and common people joined the struggle for independence. This great uprising is now known as the Indian Rebellion of 1857, or the First War of Indian Independence. In Jhansi, Rani Laxmi Bai, who was already preparing for a confrontation, saw this as the moment to reclaim her kingdom and fight for India's freedom. She took command of the situation and began to fortify her city for the inevitable battle. The Rani proved to be a brilliant and inspiring leader. She worked day and night to prepare Jhansi for war. She organized her troops, gathered weapons and ammunition, and strengthened the walls of the great Jhansi fort. Men and women from all walks of life joined her cause, inspired by her courage and determination. She personally supervised the casting of cannons and the training of soldiers. Her women's army, which she had trained herself, stood ready to defend the city alongside the men. She was everywhere, inspecting the defenses, encouraging her soldiers, and planning her strategy. The people of Jhansi looked at their queen with immense pride and were ready to sacrifice everything for her and their motherland. In March 1858, a large and powerful British army, led by General Sir Hugh Rose, arrived to crush the rebellion in Jhansi. They surrounded the city and demanded its surrender. From within the fort, the Rani's cannons roared back in defiance. The siege of Jhansi had begun. For nearly 2 weeks, the small army of Jhansi fought with incredible bravery against the much larger and better-equipped British force. The Rani was the heart and soul of the defense. She moved from one part of the fort to another, directing the soldiers, firing cannons, and boosting their morale. Her energy was infectious, and her presence on the ramparts gave her people the strength to fight on against impossible odds. The battle for Jhansi was fierce and bloody. The British were shocked by the intensity of the resistance. They had expected an easy victory, but the defenders of Jhansi, inspired by their queen, fought for every inch of their city. The women of Jhansi played a crucial role, supplying ammunition, caring for the wounded, and even fighting on the walls alongside the men. Despite their heroic efforts, the British forces eventually managed to breach the city walls. A terrible battle raged in the streets. The Rani, seeing that the fort was about to fall, knew she had to escape to continue the fight. Her struggle was not just for Jhansi anymore, it was for the freedom of India. With the British soldiers pouring into the city of Jhansi, Rani Laxmi Bai knew that staying to fight would mean certain death and the end of the resistance. She had to live to fight another day. In the dead of night, she made a daring and legendary escape. With her young son, Damodar Rao, tied securely to her back, she mounted her favorite horse, Badal, Accompanied by a small group of loyal guards, she leaped her horse over the high wall of the fort, a feat that seemed, honestly, impossible. Under the cover of darkness, she galloped away from the burning city, evading the British patrols that were searching for her. This incredible act of bravery became one of the most famous stories of her life, a symbol of her fearless spirit. After her escape from Jhansi, the Rani did not seek safety or rest. Her resolve to fight the British was stronger than ever. She rode tirelessly for many miles and reached the town of Kalpi. There, she joined forces with other important leaders of the rebellion, including the brave warrior Tatya Tope, who had been her childhood friend, and Rao Saheb, the nephew of Nana Saheb. These leaders were impressed by her courage and her strategic mind. They recognized her as a formidable military commander. Together, they planned their next move. The Rani's presence breathed new life into the rebel forces, giving them renewed hope and a powerful new leader to rally behind. The combined rebel army, with Rani Laxmi playing a key role, decided to march towards the strategic city of Gwalior. The Maharaja of Gwalior was loyal to the British, but his army was sympathetic to the cause of the rebellion. When the rebel forces arrived, the Maharaja's soldiers switched their allegiance and joined the Rani and Tatya Tope without a fight. The rebels captured the magnificent Gwalior fort, one of the strongest forts in India. This was a major victory. It gave them a strong base, a large treasury, and a fresh army. From Gwalior, they hoped to reignite the rebellion across the region and challenge the British once more. In Gwalior, Rani Laxmi was in her element. She was no longer just a queen. She was a general on the battlefield. Dressed in a soldier's uniform, she rode from camp to camp, organizing the troops and preparing for the coming battle. Her leadership was crucial in holding the rebel alliance together. The British, alarmed by the fall of Gwalior, quickly sent their best general, Sir Hugh Rose, to recapture the fort. The final, decisive battle was about to be fought. The Rani knew this could be her last stand, but she was ready to face the enemy with all her might, fighting for the dream of a free India. The British forces under Sir Hugh Rose advanced swiftly towards Gwalior. Rani Laxmi understood the gravity of the situation and urged the other rebel leaders to prepare for a strong defense. She knew that the British would attack with full force. She took charge of defending the eastern front of the city. On June 17, 1858, the final battle began. Dressed as a cavalry leader, with her sword in hand, the Rani fought with extraordinary courage at the head of her troops. She was a whirlwind of motion, charging at the enemy, cutting down British soldiers, and inspiring her army with her fearless presence. Eyewitnesses, including her British opponents, were amazed by her bravery and skill in combat. She fought like a true warrior, leading charge after charge against the enemy lines. Her sword moved like lightning, and she seemed to be everywhere on the battlefield at once. For hours, she and her soldiers held back the British advance, but the rebel forces were outnumbered and outgunned. The British army was disciplined and relentless. During the intense fighting, the Rani was surrounded by British soldiers. She fought her way out but was gravely wounded in the process. She was shot and struck by a sword. Despite her injuries, she continued to fight until she could no longer hold on. Her loyal soldiers managed to carry her away from the battlefield. Knowing that her end was near, the Rani had one last request. She did not want her body to be captured and dishonored by the British. Her followers carried her to a nearby temple, where a hermit lived. There, in the peaceful surroundings of the hermitage, the great queen breathed her last. She was only about 30 years old when she died, but she had lived a life of 100 heroes. Following her final wish, her loyal soldiers built a funeral pyre and cremated her body, ensuring that the British could never claim her as a trophy. The flame that consumed her body seemed to pass into the spirit of the nation, becoming an eternal fire of inspiration. Even her enemies were forced to admire her. General Sir Hugh Rose, the British commander who fought against her, later wrote about her. He described her as the bravest and best of all the rebel leaders. This tribute from her main adversary is perhaps the greatest testament to her incredible character and martial prowess. Her martyrdom did not end the fight for freedom, it made it stronger. The story of her sacrifice spread across India, inspiring countless others to continue the struggle. The Queen of Jhansi had fallen, but the legend of her bravery was born, destined to live forever in the hearts of her people. The fire of the 1857 rebellion was eventually put down by the British, but the embers of freedom continued to glow, fanned by the memory of heroes like Rani Laxmi Bai. Her sacrifice was not in vain. Her story became a powerful source of inspiration for India's long freedom struggle that continued for the next 90 years. Nationalists and freedom fighters told her tale to awaken a sense of pride and patriotism among the people. Her name became a war cry for those who fought to liberate India from British rule. Leaders like Netaji Subhas Chandra Bose were so inspired by her that he named the women's regiment of his Indian National Army the Rani of Jhansi Regiment. Her legacy was immortalized in literature and folklore. Across India, especially in the Bundelkhand region where she fought, bards and folk singers composed songs about her valor. These songs, known as alha, kept her story alive in the oral tradition, passed down from one generation to the next. My own poem, Jhansi Ki Rani, sought to capture the fire of her spirit and the greatness of her sacrifice. It tells the story of how she fought for every Indian, awakening a nation from its slumber. Through poems, plays, and stories, her legend became a fundamental part of India's cultural and national identity, teaching children the meaning of courage and love for one's country. In the writing of history, Rani Laxmi Bai's place is secure. She is remembered not just as a queen who fought for her kingdom, but as one of the first and most iconic figures of India's fight for independence. Historians study her military strategies, her administrative skills, and her ability to inspire people from all backgrounds to unite for a common cause. Statues of her on horseback, with her sword raised, can be found in cities all over India. These statues are not just memorials, they are constant reminders of her indomitable spirit. Schools, universities, and public institutions are named after her, ensuring that her name and her story are never forgotten. Her influence extends beyond India's borders. Her story is recognized globally as a powerful example of a female warrior and a leader who defied a colonial empire. She is often compared to other great historical figures like Joan of Arc of France. Her life demonstrates that the fight against oppression is a universal theme, and courage is a language understood by all. The legacy of Rani Laxmi Bai is a legacy of resistance, pride, and ultimate sacrifice. She lost her battle, but she won an immortal place in history, becoming a symbol of the unconquerable spirit of India. Rani Laxmi Bai's life is a powerful lesson for all time, but it holds a special meaning for the women of India. In an age when women were confined to their homes and had little say in public life, she broke every barrier. She was a scholar, a diplomat, a military strategist, and a warrior on the battlefield. She proved that women are capable of achieving anything they set their minds to. She is the ultimate symbol of Nari Shakti, or woman power. Her story gives courage to girls and women across the country to dream big, to be strong, and to stand up for their rights. She showed that a woman can be both a loving mother and a fierce protector. Her story also teaches us a profound lesson about national pride. She fought for Jhansi, but her struggle represented the honor of the entire motherland. Her famous declaration, "I shall not surrender my Jhansi," was a cry from the heart of India itself, refusing to bow down to foreign domination. She inspires in us a deep sense of patriotism and a feeling of responsibility towards our nation. Her life reminds us that the freedom we enjoy today was won through the blood and sacrifice of countless heroes like her. It encourages us to be active and responsible citizens, to protect our nation's integrity, and to work for its progress and glory. The spirit of Rani Laxmi Bai is the spirit of fighting against injustice, wherever it may be. She did not accept the unfair doctrine of lapse. She chose to fight a mighty empire rather than surrender her self-respect. This teaches us a vital lesson. We must never be silent spectators when we see wrong being done. We must find the courage to raise our voice and take a stand, even if we are standing alone. Her life motivates us to be brave in our own personal battles, whether they are big or small. She teaches us that true defeat is not in falling down, but in refusing to get up and fight again. Even today, her name has a magical effect. When we say Rani Laxmi Bai, we think of courage, honor, and selfless love for one's country. She is more than a historical figure. She is an eternal flame of inspiration. Her life story is a guide for anyone who wants to live with dignity, purpose, and courage. She reminds us that within every ordinary person lies an extraordinary hero, waiting to be awakened. As long as her story is told, the flame of her spirit will continue to burn brightly, lighting the way for generations to come and reminding us of the incredible strength of the human will.